Good evening, wrestling fans of the world. Anyone who has been keeping up with us, we know this is the big guy Rich. On the other side, we got the mastermind Sal.
Hey guys,
Sal,
what's up? How's it going?
I have a question for you, Sal.
Yep.
What was the Sunday that just passed?
Well, what was what?
The Sunday that just passed. Was there anything big that happened?
Well, it's hard to tell. I think, well, nothing happened this Sunday, but I know something very big happened this past Saturday, right?
Oh, yes. I forgot Saturday was a much better show than Sunday
How can you forget about Saturday, man?
because Sunday pissed me off so much.
I mean, well, we're obviously talking about Royal Rumble weekend, right? I think because that's something that still got us. But Rich, of all people, you always tell me all the time that the takeovers are much better than the pay-per-views,
This proved
and
it
that's the
again.
only thing I remember pretty much.
Yeah, this proved it again that Takeover was way better than the Royal Rumble.
All right. I mean, well, let's break this down. So, of course, we had our recent preview where we talked about pretty much what was going to happen, what we thought, what our thoughts on the whole pay per view was, basically start to finish, what we thought was going to happen, all that
Well,
stuff. We broke it down.
before we start, where can the fans check out the previous podcast of the preview?
Oh yes. So we've always had like the previews and everything like that. Of course, you could check it on this one site. It's it's got run by a guy that's a knight that runs the site.
Yes.
Let me think. Trying to think his name.
What's his
Who
name?
could it be? Woo,
Who?
woo,
Who?
woo,
Who?
woo,
Who?
woo,
Who?
woo, woo, woo.
Not you.
Not me. It's not you
Not
either.
me. Not me.
So who could it be?
Um,
Hmm. I think I have it right
the
here. Hold on, let me think.
the it's
Well,
not
how about this?
it's
Before you
not
say who it
Rick.
is, before you say who it is, let's go on this website. It's called ProWrestlingOpinion.com. Let's check this out. Let me see. All right, let me find out. So I go on ProWrestlingOpinion.com. Let me see what's going on. Okay, so I'm just looking through my browser right now, and what I see is pretty much they got coverage of WWE, Pro Wrestling Syndicate. What else is it? West Coast Wrestling Connection. They got AML
Yes,
Live. They got TNA, ROH, and pretty much some extras, right? Including us, the RSN Wrestling Podcast.
but the
But
fans want to know who it is though that runs it.
let me think. Well, whoever did this is a pretty smart guy. Because one thing. Wait, hold up. I'm seeing something right here.
You have his name?
It's Nick.
It's the Nick
Lopez.
Lopez.
Not just a Nick. It's the Nicholas Jason Lopez.
There's
Basically, the
more
guy
than
that runs the
one
site.
Nick Lopez,
The Nick Lopez. Yeah, we call him Nick Lopez. Pretty much
but he's
that we call
the
him
Nick.
as the Nick Lopez. Yes. And he's the knight that runs the site, pretty much. The guy that basically was pulling the strings behind Pro Wrestling Opinion. Basically, like we said, you go on the website, pretty much have a full review in depth of pretty much what's going on. Right now, it's a little hard because he's still trying to catch up on all the stuff. He's a one man show, guys. So just hold on,
He,
but just know this.
I praise him for getting all this done.
Yep, and it's pretty hard to get it all done. It's a one man show, but he's getting it done. So you got to give him props for that. But I'm sure if he was here, he'd probably be saying the same things that we are saying right now about the Royal Rumble weekend. Wouldn't you say that?
That Takeover was way better.
Well, yeah, I agree. I think he would say probably the same thing. Takeover was much better, and I mean, well, elaborate down. Elaborate. Why would you think that would be better?
Um, well, do you want to start from beginning to end?
Well, what I suggest then we'll start. I guess just like how we did the just like how we did the preview. I guess we'll just focus on one show and then straight from there. Things that point out to us, things that are big, or things that are small, things that point out small, whatever it is, and we'll just talk about it.
Okay. So where do you want to start?
Well, I'm thinking, let's start. Okay, first match of the night. What do you hear? The theme song comes up. Ty Dillinger, 10, 10, 10,
The perfect 10.
and then perfect 10. And he came out in grand fashion. Whole crowd was chanting 10. Crowd went bonkers. Great time to start the night. Because worst case scenario, you start the night on a very low note, and then the crowd isn't into it, or the crowd gives all the energy in the beginning, and then slowly towards the end, their voice gets lower, and they say, "All right, fuck it, I don't have energy to do that, whatever." Perfect time for them to start. I think I like that. Well, first thing, but I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Well, they had Ty Dillinger versus Eric Young, I believe, right?
Yeah, and to be honest, I think that was a great match.
Well, I think from the get go, I think Eric Young. I mean, look at Sanity's entrance too. I like that too. I like the way that they have it there. It's much better than what they did in TNA. I can tell you that. But it makes sense. It fits them.
The only thing I miss about him in TNA is the pile driver.
That's right. I mean, well, some things you can't do anymore, but that's all you can say. But I think he's like looking at Eric Young. He's getting more and more progressively used to the WWE style, and that's what I think is going to help him in getting him more into the main roster and all that stuff. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's just a matter of time when he'll get his call up.
Mm-hmm. But what are your thoughts on the match, like the sequence and everything like that?
No, I thought it was a very, very good match. Very well poetry in motion. Those two guys work great together.
Mm-hmm. But it was a very good. I think it's a good storytelling. Like you said, yeah, it's pretty good. Well, I really didn't like it. Felt like they were. Well, I think from the get go, once we found out, okay, there was a near fall, I was good. But then out of nowhere, of course, they had that unexpected decision where Ty Dillinger lost, or sort of expected because we kind of said, okay, that's probably his swan song. He's gonna show up to Rumble tomorrow night. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
But I think it's a
They
fantastic
always
performance.
say the superstar always picks his swan song,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically someone that he or she feels that they work very well together.
Right, right.
Bailey's was Asuka.
Mm-hmm.
Joe's was Nakamura.
Mm-hmm. I believe Nakamura, yeah. Yeah, but we'll get to that later because that's something
Sammy
else.
was Sammy was Nakamura. Finn was Nakamura.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see a little pattern?
Yeah, it seems like Well, what do you think is Shin's swan song is going to be?
His swan song, probably Bobby again. Like
Bobby?
the final Bobby Roode Nakamura match.
Well, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, if we fast forward straight to the end of the night, they had, of course, it's Bobby Roode versus who was it? Bobby Roode versus Shinsuke
Shinsuke
Nakamura.
Nakamura for the
Yep,
title.
and for the title, and then of course they had that short spot where he kind of tweaked his knee, and it kind of felt like a real thing. But later on, you found out it was a work, or it might have been a work. You never know.
I think
But
it was.
he sold it pretty good though. I sold if it's real, he it's fucked up. But if it's not real, he sold it very very good. And they kind of made him. They kind of made Bobby Roode look strong.
Which isn't hard to do though.
Yeah. But I think, what do you think? What are your thoughts on that match? I think it was a pretty good sequence, really good match. Went through flying colors.
Yeah. I think it was a very, very smooth put together match.
Yep. And at the end, when you saw Bobby Roode holding that title, and then of course Corey Graves saying, "Now the NXT title is glorious. That's a glorious NXT title reign."
There's only one thing that disappointed me though.
And what's that?
I thought his entrance would have been a little more like boom. Like,
And
yeah,
what's
he
that?
had a good entrance, but I
Mm-hmm.
thought he was going to do something spectacular.
Who Roode?
Yeah.
Well, did you see Shinsuke's entrance? That was pretty dope. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Well, there was a lot of entrances I think that were pretty dope this whole this whole weekend. But I think that was probably one of the most memorable ones. It's like he was on more like, what was it, like a little like a, what should I say, like a saucer or a disc or something,
Yeah. Something like that.
and he was just like,
Like a revolving platform or something.
yeah, like some kind of platform, and he was just going down the ramp and all that, and that was pretty dope entrance, I'd say. Um, it's better
Well,
from.
we're actually forgetting 2 matches.
It was a couple matches, yeah,
Yeah, we're
but
forgetting 3 matches.
I mean, before we go on to that, I want to talk about a slight thing. In the last podcast, we said that I know you said this struck out to me during that match between Tyler Dillinger and Eric Young. You said that if Ty Dillinger was 10 years younger, this gimmick would work for him.
Yes,
And I
I
kind of saw that.
still
I was
say
like,
that.
yeah, it kind of hit me right there because that night it was like, holy crap! It's like because if you look at Eric Young, how old is he? I think he's older than
I think he's like
uh,
36 or something, almost 40.
36, almost 40. And then you see Ty Dillinger, who's pretty much 34.
34.
It's hard to believe that he's 24,
No, he's 34.
34. But I mean, when you see that, it's kind of hard to believe that okay, this guy is he's a rookie compared to Eric, who's been for a long, long time. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah,
But that struck out to me. I was like, holy shit, this guy is like if it was 10 years before, definitely he'd be a perfect fit for that gimmick. But it's hard to say now. Now he's in the main roster. Who knows what's gonna happen? I mean, we'll get to that, of course, when we're talking about the Rumble. But I know you said there was a couple more matches that you want to talk about, right?
yeah. There was still 3 matches we didn't cover.
Right, right. Well, the women's match I think went pretty good. I can say that.
I think that Nikki Cross should have won though.
Yeah, I still feel like well, actually, I know you were talking about a lot about Billie Kay. How you think she's like a favorite of yours, right? And at first I was kind of like, forget it. And then of course Peyton Royce. I actually wanted one of those two to win, and not Asuka to win. So I'll be on you for that. Same thing, like it's like what the hell, man? It's kind of like all right, it should have been someone else that won.
Well, I
But
think
then
Ember
Asuka
is probably gonna win it.
probably that's gonna be a swan song for her. Who knows? But then what about we're missing of course the tag match, right?
And the singles match.
The Andrade Cien Almas versus Roderick Strong, right? Well, I know you have favorites about Roderick Strong. What are your thoughts on that?
It's Roderick Strong, man. It's
That was a
Roddy.
phenomenal match, though.
If you actually watch the match, you see a little like a comparison of him and Eddie Edwards from TNA. They both love doing the running knee.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of similarities. I mean, with Roderick Strong, he's pretty strong. It's like, it's fact. It's Roderick fucking Strong. He is, though, no lie. I mean, he did a pretty good performance with Andrade Cien Almas. It works
They actually
perfect.
put a they actually put on a very good match together.
Yeah, very good match, I think, yeah. And I think that was probably one of the leading match. It wasn't even for the title, nothing. That was pretty good.
It
It
was just
stacked
a
pretty good with those
singles
title
match.
matches. Yeah. Well, I mean, think about this too. So we of course had the tag match, the women's match. We had Eric Young versus Ty Dillinger, and then also we had, I mean, pretty much like the world title match. But to see all these matches on like one level, it kind of felt like okay, they brought the whole card up. So that's perfect. That's
And
how
just
it should
think,
be.
they did 5 great matches in a 2 hour span.
Yeah, yeah, and it wasn't even like and the build. I mean, build was pretty good for it. I'd say I mean, well, here's one thing, and here's one note too. The promos, if you notice, the like opening promos for each of these events, for Summers, for Royal Rumble, and Takeover, you can literally see how they build up to the pay per view, and it's very very good. Like they put it very good, like for Takeover. But when you see the main roster, it's kind of like, you know, okay, whatever. But like I just looked at it, I'm like, wow, they did a really good job of putting this whole like this package together, video package together, to try to promote it and say, okay, this is what's happening, and introduce the event. That's just one note I think from there. And again,
So we still have one more match, which I actually think
yeah,
was probably the match of the night.
yeah. And which match?
Hashtag DIY versus the Authors of Pain.
My boy's the Arthur of Pain. I was so hyped. I was like, oh man, thank God.
And my boys DIY. I think they put
It
on the
was
match of
messed
the
up that
night.
they lost. Yeah, I mean, it was messed up that they lost, but it was kind of like, okay, I was happy at the same time because, it's like, okay, now the Authors of Pain are now this kind of big tag team, and they kind of built their way up. If you check in the past 2 3 months, what they've done, they won the tag classic, they beat every tag team, now they're tag champs. Perfect story, makes sense, why not?
And like I said, the past couple minutes, I think that was match of the night.
That was for sure. That definitely was. But I mean, well, here's why I think when I was on social media saying all this stuff about There's a Pain, specifically one of the members, I think it was Akam. He's what's he called? He's a former wrestler that competed in Brazil and everything. So I follow his whole thing and everything. His name is actually Sonny Dinsa. Real good, like athlete, wrestler at 285 pound weight class. And his partner also, I think, Razor. Same thing.
Hmm.
He was an MMA fighter, class, acting, everything like that. They put up a very good performance. Good tag team, I think. But then, I mean, but what are your thoughts on what do you think is going to happen in the future for now? Do you think the revival's going to come back, or do you feel like another tag team is going to come in and face them, or what do you think is going to happen?
They might probably put together a team.
Another team?
Yeah.
You know what I'd like to see again?
Who?
Austin Aries and Robert Roode together in a tag team.
To be honest, I would like to see Austin Aries and Roderick Strong.
That would work too. Yeah,
They
that can
were
happen.
ROH champs.
Yeah, exactly. They have history, right? Right. That's true. That's true. I mean, it's kind of they can go either way with this. They can go however they want. But it's like okay, who's left now? Or what about TM61? The what you call it, the Mighty Don't Kneel. They're still on the shelf. So when they come back,
Oh, they're
are
gonna
they
come back
probably
strong.
yeah? Are they gonna come back to face pretty much the Authors of Pain? You never know.
Most
That
likely,
can
yeah.
happen. Yeah, I think that's how they're kind of building it, and maybe TM61 gets their first tag titles in NXT. So it makes sense.
If they
But then,
didn't
of
get
course,
injured, they probably would have been a triple threat match.
well, they might have been tag champs by now. You never know. But then, of course,
There's
night's
one
over.
moment, but
Yeah.
there's one moment we forgot to mention, which was probably the moment of the night.
Which was?
Seth
Oh, right, right, right.
Rollins.
Seth Rollins coming out calling Triple H. What were your thoughts on that? What was your first gut reaction when you saw that?
At first, when I saw someone hop the barrier, I was like, "Who the fuck is that?" Then
When
I
I
saw
heard the
the
voice, yeah, I mean,
when I
when I
saw
heard
the
the voice,
back
I
of the
was like,
sweatshirt, I'm like, "Oh!" Like it's
oh,
Seth.
right, right. I mean, when I saw the like when of course they were in the commentary, whatever, talking about, I think they were talking about Royal Rumble tomorrow, the next night, and then the next thing you know, you hear a voice, somebody, on the mic, you know, calling someone out, and then they zoom in the camera and it's Seth Rollins. It's like, oh shit! I just marked the fuck out. I'm like, holy fuck, he's back in NXT, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, oh god, like this is gonna be interesting because it's like then Triple H comes out, the whole crowd goes bonkers. Then you see that whole thing where he drives heat, where the what you call security comes in, takes him out, all this stuff, and that's it. Well, what about well, here's one thing too. I think after that they had the Facebook Live on their Facebook Live with Triple H. Everybody in, I mean, I was actually there watching the whole thing, and believe me, if you were watching that thing on Facebook, you were hoping. People were typing in the comments, Seth, this is your chance. Seth's gonna come. Seth's gonna come and hit him. Seth's gonna come and hit him. Didn't happen. It was so disappointing. I was like, oh man, come on. That would have been cool though, to see Seth come in and maybe attack him or
Oh,
something happens like
definitely.
that. But that didn't happen.
That definitely would have been amazing.
That would have been amazing, yeah, and would have made some big, like I think when they started, they had about 10,000 viewers. That's it. So imagine this guy has, I think, what, a couple 100 million viewers, and only 10,000 people are watching the stream.
Because
Why
everyone's
not? So
watching Takeover.
yeah, but then of course they're watching. This is after Takeover. This is after Takeover. So of course after Takeover, what do? You pretty much just go to sleep, or if there's anything else on the network, you watch the network.
You go on social
But
media,
he's
check
going,
it out.
yeah. But they could have done something there, maybe build something from there, because everybody after a Takeover usually goes over to Triple H's thing and he's just discussing about it. But why not add that in? I guess they made a mistake by not doing that. But that might have made it interesting. But then of course we got the Royal Rumble.
Oh,
Palms are sweating. Oh my god, holy shit! It's the Royal Rumble. I remember I was walking in to work that day. I was like, oh god damn, I just want to get my work over with. 93, I'm done. Going home, sitting down, watching the Royal Rumble. That's it.
all
Next thing you
800
know,
hours of it.
yep, all 800 hours. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. And they had the pre-show, of course, the three matches that happened. I think pretty much the only thing that happened that was significant, like we said, we looked at the two Divas matches, was like, okay, whatever. But then of course you see the tag match, and there was an actual title change.
Hey, guess what? Too
What are
sweet,
your thoughts on
bro.
that? Too sweet all day. It's
Too sweet.
crazy. I mean, they won the world tag titles. That's crazy.
So now everyone in Bullet Club has had a title in the past year.
That's true. Right. Right. That's right. So of
AJ
course you have
had
Finn.
New Japan.
Hmm.
The only one who
Yep.
doesn't have a title is just Cody.
Yep. Of course everybody has a title, but now it's like, of course, I mean, talking to WWE, Finn won his NXT title. Of course, he won the Universal title at SummerSlam. Got injured. Then of course we have AJ Styles winning the WWE title. Then after that, of
Superstar of
course,
the
on the
year,
other side you
AJ
got,
Styles.
yeah. What happened?
Superstar of the year, AJ Styles.
Superstar of the year, AJ Styles. By the way, we're still planning on doing this year end in review podcast, but we haven't gotten a chance to do that yet. Still thinking about it. Still waiting on
Oh
Nick
no, we're
to
doing
catch
it.
up.
We're doing it. It's just we're waiting for Nick to
To catch
get
up for it,
past
yeah.
roadblock.
Right, right. So
Once he
once he gets
passes
over, that's
roadblock, then we're good.
yeah, that's when we're done from there. But of course, stay tuned for that too. That's gonna be pretty interesting too. But
What's it called? The Slamalamis?
we call it the Slam and Lammies, but we call it, the technical name is year end in review.
It's the RSN awards, basically.
RSN awards, whatever name you want to give it. Pretty much recap the whole year, talk about what's happening and all that. Have different categories, different things, all that stuff, and we just
Superstar
talk
of the
more about
year,
that.
woman wrestler of the year,
Hmm. Right, right.
tag team of the
So then,
year.
right, and then what about the main card? So of course they started out with Bailey versus Charlotte. Bailey won.
Barely
Ah,
lost.
oh, Bailey lost. My phone. I bossed that up. Fuck. But
Eva
yeah,
Marie.
Eva Marie. Fuck Eva Marie. Well, here's one thing I think that really was okay. Eva Marie didn't make an appearance. Thank fucking
Thank
God.
God.
Thank God.
But guess who?
Emelina.
I was gonna say, guess who else didn't make an appearance?
Exactly.
Emelina.
Emelina. Nowhere to be found. And here's the
Still
really
waiting.
interesting thing. Yeah, they still didn't put up any kind of what you call vignette about her returning or anything like that. So don't know what's gonna
Premiering,
happen with that.
whatever it's called. She's never gonna debut.
Yeah, I don't think she's ever gonna debut. It's like same kind of deal. When is Undertaker gonna retire? Oh, when Emelina debuts. When is Roman Reigns gonna get over with the fans? When Emelina debuts. But speaking of Roman Reigns, we of course had the Shark Cage match where Chris Jericho was locked in a cage,
Oh my
brought up
god,
to the
that was a
ceiling.
great fucking match.
Great spots, I think. Well, that's what I say. They got really really creative with these spots. That whole chair spot,
The
Kevin Owens
chair,
played it really good.
the chair pyramid.
Yeah, that's what I call it, the chair pyramid.
That's what I called it, the chair pyramid. He built
The
a whole
chair
fucking
pyramid.
pyramid of chairs.
You heard it here, You heard it here, folks. If you ever see that, give credit to Rich. He put that name in there. But that was interesting. That was elaborate, though. It was a pretty good idea to do that. It was kind of, interesting. We never seen that before. Of course, chair shots are taken to the head out of the equation, but you have that. Makes it a little more interesting. It's like, okay, something new, something interesting. It's a good thing. But of
Something no one's
course,
ever seen before.
yep. Well, here's one thing too. Midway into the match, who comes out? Braun Strowman. Roman's about to get the upper hand. He wins, or he was about to win. Braun comes out, hits him square on the table, monitor straight to the head. Boom, clocked out. Takes him in, screws him for the title. And what do you think about that?
I actually think they're trying to push Braun to be a big heel.
I think they're pushing Braun to be a face, or a heel that gets a face reaction.
So basically, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens.
Well, here's one thing. I think this is his weak point. He can't cut a promo. He can't talk. He can perform, but not to the level where it's like, okay, he's a phenomenal athlete or whatever like that. He's a big man. So what do you expect? But I think I think what he's gonna do in the ring,
But if you
that's
think
what's gonna
about
make
it,
him a
name a
big
big
star.
man that actually can cut a promo, though.
You really can't. Probably the only one is Paul Heyman, but he's not a wrestler. He's in the same weight zone, but he's not a wrestler.
There's no real big man that can cut a promo besides Undertaker.
Let's dissect all the giants. Great Khali, was a big force. Bucks, you could be someone you could fuck with, but he was a fucking beast, And then of course when it
He
comes to
couldn't
mic
speak.
skills, he couldn't speak, nothing like that. Undertaker, he has what you call a veteran and everything like that. People respect him, all like that. But for a period of time, he didn't speak at all. And that's what made him so successful. That when he cuts a promo on the mic, it's kind of like, okay, you pay respect him, you kind of listen, it's like, cool, okay, whatever. But you don't think it's like, oh, CM Punk good or like Paul Heyman good. It's not that. Like, it's just okay,
He's
whatever.
he's good, but he's not elite.
Yeah. Big Show, of course. Big Show is just Big Show. Mark Henry is just Mark Henry. But I mean, it's really think about this. Like, think about this. What other big man has ever been successful in the wrestling ring or has had a bigger impact? You
There
really
really
can't, right?
isn't.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about like Big Bam Bigelow, who was a big name, did a lot of shit, crazy dude, but
Couldn't,
backstage everybody would say all kinds of shit about him.
and he couldn't talk.
He couldn't talk, but I mean, he had a reputation. But like these guys, they're kind of quiet, you know, shy. They don't talk. They're very, very, secretive in personal life. But that's something there. Like, for example, like Big Show. If you were to come up to him in public and tell him shit, he will straight up like go off on you. Just
Yeah,
like get the fuck out of my face or whatever. And you see someone like Andre the Giant, who's been known many times to say, "Oh, like Iron Sheik said it best. You go ahead and ask him for an autograph. You say, get the fuck out of here. I'm not gonna give you an autograph." And he just walks away. So, Giants and WWE, not good ambassadors, not good people with verbal skills and everything.
they're just there to fuck shit up.
Yeah. Well, did you hear about this? Did you hear about the Universal Championship design?
No.
Supposedly, this is what happened. So, Orange County Choppers, the guys that created the WWE belt and
Oh yeah,
motorbikes and
yeah,
everything? Yeah.
yeah.
So, they reached out to them to create a new belt design. And supposedly on this new belt design, the what do you call it, OCC, Orange County Choppers, they took a photo on Instagram and they posted it, and it's pretty much the
I
same
saw it on
template.
Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's on I think on Instagram too. It's on the same like it's on what do you call it, like it's on the same template, the same thing as the Universal Championship designs. Everything's the same, except on the bottom you see instead of Universal Championship, you see Universal Championship.
Hmm.
What do you think about that?
Botched.
Bosch? Well, here's one theory. They didn't actually botch it. They did it on purpose because think about it. Verbal, right? Univerbal, right? Verbal championship. Who's the ones that are? I think it seems like they're kind of. Well, here's speculation. They think that the future belt design is going to be dependent on who's a champion later on, and it basically going to be someone that cuts promos, someone who's good with words. Who do you think is that?
On Raw.
On Raw. Yeah, this is Universal Championship, so it can't be the WWE title. It can't be on SmackDown.
Not that many people that are in the title picture on Raw that actually could talk.
Well, here's one. Here's speculation. There's Kevin Owens, of course, right? Who can cut great promos, fantastic athlete, right?
You got Goldberg, who's in the title picture. Lesnar,
But
that's
he
in the
can't
title
speak.
picture.
Can't speak either. Yeah,
That's really it.
yeah. But what about Jericho?
I think he's going for the. I think he's going to start feuding with Sammy.
Well, I think the speculation is that I think Owens is gonna screw him out of the title, and then later on, what's gonna end up happening is Jericho wins the belt, becomes and gets the title, and then he renames it the Universal Championship. Like how it was the Miz's title, how we had the W upside down. Edge had the Rated R Championship. These kind of things. Basically, it's just a rebranding. That's it.
Well, can I say something that my sources have told me?
And what's that?
And you know my sources. They're
Yep.
very, very,
By the way, you
very,
run the Twitter
really.
page, right? At Artisan Podcast.
Yeah, which you could check up for up to date breaking news before it hits the mainstream, which
Yep.
nothing really big
Mm-hmm.
as of the past 24 hours.
Yep, that's true. That's
Until
true.
about 20 minutes ago, I found out something.
Really? What's that?
I'm actually going to reveal it now instead of on
Mm-hmm.
Twitter.
Yep.
So So I'll do like a little breaking news song or something. Do like a little breaking news sound for me.
I won't be able to do it now, but probably post production I will. So I'll probably do it
Okay.
in post production. Hold on, I got you though.
Okay. Well, my sources have told me it's going to be Kevin Owens versus Goldberg, with Goldberg winning the title, which will lead to a Lesnar Goldberg match number. What are we up to now? Three,
Number three.
four,
Yep,
three, four,
three.
whatever, at
Yep.
WrestleMania for the title.
Really.
Yeah.
So
So
there's gonna be.
my sources have main card events up until WrestleMania already covered. So at Fastlane,
Mhm,
it's going to be Owens versus Goldberg, Goldberg going over,
mhm.
and then Mania, Goldberg, Lesnar, round, whatever, who cares, for the title.
I think that's a total BS event because look at last time they were at WrestleMania. WrestleMania 20. Everybody knew both of them were gonna leave. Next thing you know,
They put on one of the worst matches ever in Mania history.
and what do you think made it one of the worst matches ever? Besides the fact that they were leaving, but what do you think made it the worst match ever?
That it was poorly written,
Well, that's one factor, but I think also the
horrible
fact that
performances.
yep. Well, I think it was also because of the fact that it was in New York, of all places, the biggest, like the three biggest cities that have wrestling in their blood. Like wrestling is in the fucking blood of these cities.
New York,
Chicago, New York,
Chicago, and Pennsylvania.
Philly, yeah, Philly.
Yeah,
So
because of ECW.
ECW, but also because it's a culture here. So worst place to be. But do you think it'll ever work? Well, let me ask you this: do you feel like they do that in Florida, in the South, WrestleMania, different time, different place? They're both part timers now, so they're not leaving, but technically they're both part timers. This is possibly Goldberg's last match, and I think Brock's also because his contract
Survivor
is coming
Series was
up.
supposed to be his last match, also.
Yep. But I think he signed a new deal, right? Where he can do he's doing Fastlane, Royal Rumble, and Mania,
Yeah,
right?
but he's also appearing at 9 Raws before Mania.
Really. So, of course, that's one thing. But what do you think about that? So now two part timers are gonna fight for the main title at
But
Mania.
you also have to remember, Mania attracts so many people from around the world.
Yeah.
So
But
it's
you
not
still
like
feel
it's a
like
regular pay-per-view where you're not going to have many people from other states. This is the grandest show of them all that attracts tens of thousands of fans
right, right. But what
from
about
all over America, all over the world. You got people traveling from friggin' Ireland, from Pakistan, from Asia, from Africa, just to come to one event. They
right?
spend hundreds of dollars on tickets, hundreds of dollars on airline tickets, hundreds of dollars on hotel rooms just to see. I don't even know how long it's going to be. 5 hours, 7 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, the whole weekend worth
Yep.
of WrestleMania.
Yep.
They're getting their money's worth. They're going to make sure that they're going to boo the shit out of this match, boo the shit out of Roman Reigns.
Yep.
Okay,
Well, I mean,
my pipe bomb's over.
well, here's one thing though. They've done it in the past. The question is, will it work again? There was one time I think during the bill where it was Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg at the Survivor Series for the Survivor Series build-up, and there
One
was
minute
of
and
course that one
26
point.
seconds.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, in the build-up before that, where they were out of Raw, Goldberg. I mean, I think Lesnar was kind of. I think I don't know. Paul Heyman was kind of promo. Midway into the segment, they were
About
going. They were saying
the
Goldberg sucks.
oh, do you know why? It was in Minnesota. You don't put the biggest heel who gets the biggest pop in
Hmm.
his hometown and expect to have a negative reaction, especially when it's
Right.
Paul Heyman cutting a promo for Lesnar.
Hmm. But I think it's too late now.
They
I think
cut the
it's way.
promo short. That's the funny part.
I think it's way too. I think it's Well, here's I think there's many challenges, but I think that's one of the challenges is that okay, you know, they basically have this kind of thing where, of course, that can happen at any time. That was, of course, in the hometown. Of course, different factors. Brock Lesnar's the home guy, and you don't put him as the heel. Of course, we learned that. But
You could have
do you
done it
feel
in
like that might happen again?
Oklahoma. You could have done it in like Oklahoma. You would have got probably the same reaction, but it
Hmm.
wouldn't be as loud
Right, right. But then how
because
is
you
what
got
about the factor that for years they've been saying Goldberg can't wrestle because
he can.
he has ring rust, of course. He's not able to perform.
He has five moves.
He's not.
He's the original five
Huh?
moves of Doom. Goldberg
Yeah,
is the
he's a five
original
moves
five
too.
moves of Doom.
Yeah, so I mean, here's one thing. I think here's one of the biggest challenges right here. So they have this match coming up. What are they gonna do? They're gonna make a 2 minute match, like
Oh,
at Mania.
if they do a short match at Mania,
Yeah,
neither of them will be well. They'll be welcomed back by the company, but by the fans, hell no.
I'm thinking about this. Whatever happens at Mania is pretty much immortalized. What happens there is stuck in history. Benoit winning the title, that's stuck in our minds forever. They might erase it all they want, but that's still there.
Everyone knows WrestleMania 20. The closing moment was Eddie Guerrero hugging Chris Benoit.
And I mean, now it's like they don't even mention that because they can't do that now. It's like, okay, if they
WrestleMania
try,
30, Daniel Bryan standing on top of the table holding the two titles.
and these things are immortalized. And that's the thing. Like, do they really want to have it be Goldberg versus Lesnar for their main title
And it'll be
and
like
have
a
it be in a
3 minute
2 minute match?
match.
Yeah, 3 minute match. Because I mean, here's the thing: Goldberg's getting up in age. He's botching a lot. He can't do moves properly, and there's always a risk of okay, this guy really can't wrestle. Look at way back. William Regal versus Goldberg. That was a total slaughter right there. I mean, it was like, okay, they had Regal fight in there, and he couldn't last 5 minutes because all he could do was just a jackhammer, a spear, and that's it. Walk the fuck out.
Goldberg is stiff.
He's stiff. I mean, that's the thing, and I think that's the biggest challenge. If they're gonna make this a big match,
Okay,
how long is it gonna be?
I'm gonna bring this up. I think it was in '99 or 2000. It was a Monday Nitro.
Hmm.
You can't find this clip anywhere. There's one video on YouTube that shows it. I think it's like the top 10 worst wrestling injuries. You know
Hmm.
that back roundhouse kick that Goldberg does?
Yeah.
He kicked Bret Hart. It was supposed to land on his shoulder.
Yep.
He kicked him in his temple.
Yep.
Ended Bret
Severe
Hart's
injury.
career.
Yeah. Ended up ending his career, and
The
that's
name of the kick,
one of the things.
the name of that kick is the kick that killed Bret Hart.
It did, and I think he was kind of bitter about that, right? Years after.
And you think about it, if that kick never happened, Bret Hart probably could have wrestled another 10 years, probably. Give or take. Probably another 10 years.
Definitely, definitely. But it's kind of like, I think that's another challenge right now. Of course,
And
Fastlane, like you said, they're gonna have,
that proves how stiff of a worker Goldberg is.
yeah. But I mean, here's one thing too. Of course, I mean, we'll talk about the Royal Rumble probably next thing we're talking about right now. But of course, you talked about at Fastlane, it's gonna be Brock Lesnar. I mean, what's gonna Goldberg versus
Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens for the title. But it's like,
You know
okay,
that's gonna
are
be
they
hard.
willing to risk?
That's gonna be hard for Kevin Owens. Because
Yeah,
you know
it's like,
Owens, he likes to actually work a match.
here's one thing. What if he actually does make Goldberg look good, win the title, and make it a really good match?
It's gonna be hard. Because I don't think Goldberg could last.
It's very difficult. I mean, Kevin Owens is a perfect worker. If you were to put him up with a mop and have a promo, like if you were to have a promo like a promo contest with him and a mop, he'd make the mop look good. Just saying. I mean, he's able to put people over. I think.
Hey, if Kota Ibushi could put over a blow up doll,
Hmm.
Owens could definitely put over a mop.
Yeah, that's true. And promo wise, I mean, that's one thing. And a mop wouldn't even
Hey,
say nothing. And
Kota Ibushi also wrestled an imaginary person.
yep,
And
Kenny Omega.
the imaginary person won.
Yeah. Well, what
Put
about
on a
this?
hell of a
Kenny
match.
Omega. Yeah, Kenny
Wrestled a
Omega.
9-year-old girl.
fought a 9-year-old girl. He put her over. That's
even
something to say
though
right there.
even though Omega won.
Yeah, and he still put her over. Like he was like, okay, you know what? They told a good story. They made her look strong, everything like that. It made it believable. That's the thing. It's kind of like the challenge. Can Kevin Owens, if they do go with this, make this believable?
It's gonna be hard.
I mean, I think there's only one scenario if they're gonna make this happen. You know how?
Jericho screws over Owens.
Jericho, yeah, probably Jericho screws over Owens or something like that happens, and that's it. End of
That's
the
the
night.
only thing I could possibly think of.
Yeah, because that's probably the only way they can go. Because I mean, speaking of Owens, so it's kind of confirmed now that Owens probably won't walk into WrestleMania with the title, as of now, as of what we're seeing right now. But another person is not gonna walk in with the title. It seems like at Mania, and that is of course AJ
That's
Styles. AJ
phenomenal.
Styles, of course. I was shocked.
Hey,
I
that
was
was a
shocked.
great match.
It was a great match, but I was so pissed. I was like, oh my fucking god, they did
You know
not
what I
just do
realized
this.
though?
What was that?
Whenever AJ and Cena are in the ring, they
Yeah.
put on a 5-star match.
Well, I wouldn't say that because, of course, Kenny Omega recently tweeted out that he's like, your match is probably the best match in WWE, but my match with Okada was probably better than all the matches ever, and that's a fact.
And I said it was a 5-star match, not the 6-star match.
Right, right. That's you gave it a 6 out of 5 stars, right, for Okada versus Kenny Omega,
Omega
right?
versus Okada was a 6-star match.
Yeah, but putting it side to
But
side with
Cena versus AJ was a 5-star.
5 star match, right, right. Well, that's a fact. I
You
think
know
I
what
agree
else?
with that. It was a 5 star match.
You know what else is a 5-star?
Yeah, just a 5 star, not 6 stars. We can't give it 6 stars because 6 stars only
But
goes
do you know
to
what? Do you know what else is
five.
a 5-star thing?
Yeah,
ProWrestlingOpinion.com. It's a 5-star site.
5 star site. No, not 5 star. You gotta make it 6 star
It's
site.
a it's a 6-star site.
It's a 6 star site indeed, because you're gonna see that. And I know everybody's waiting for this whole Wrestle Kingdom review that he's gonna do. We're
Oh,
waiting
he's
for it.
gonna blow up.
He's
He's
gonna
gonna
blow it
blow
up,
up
man.
Wrestle Kingdom.
Definitely, definitely, and it's something definitely to check out. We're gonna check. He's gonna be coming up with that soon, I think. But
Do you know what
that's
else
one thing.
is
But
five
what your
stars?
thoughts? Yep,
Alexa
6.
Bliss. Alexa Bliss. That's my 5-star.
Billy Kay's my 6 now.
Alexa is my. She's just perfect.
Perfect 10.
She's an 11.
She's an 11. She's 11. But I mean,
That-
let's stick to basically
I'm
this
just.
match.
I'm watching SmackDown. I'm just staring at Alexa.
Well, I mean, think about this. So, of course, they had
I'm
Cena
sorry. I'm
versus.
sorry, baby, if you're listening, but you know Alexa is. I love her.
That's her
Sorry.
crush. That's her crush right there. That's his crush.
Sorry, baby.
Come on.
I love you.
But I mean,
I
let's
had to
move on
throw
right
that
here.
in
So,
there.
John Cena won the title. Of course, we had the whole thing. John Cena is 16-time world champ. I know you're probably watching SmackDown right now, so we're probably gonna find out what's gonna happen with that. But I mean, this is what I'm hearing, that supposedly he's gonna win. What you call it? He wins the title, goes into Elimination Chamber. Bray Wyatt wins it, and of course, I mean, we're gonna move on probably to the Royal Rumble right now soon. But pretty much it's gonna be where Bray Wyatt is in the main title picture, holding the title, and Cena is just a
Finally,
temporary thing. This is just a throwaway.
finally brazen the title picture.
Yeah, it makes sense. But I mean, let's move on to the Royal Rumble match. I mean, fuck it. We've already. I mean, there's pretty much nothing else you can really talk about in the Royal Rumble if you're thinking about it. But
Yeah, I think we basically covered all the matches.
now the big thing is only the Royal Rumble. So what are your thoughts on? So of course we had 1 come out, 2 come out, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and who comes out?
10.
Top 10. 10, 10, 10 up there.
The
And
perfect
next thing you
10.
know, Perfect 10 comes out. Braun Strowman's in the ring, and the same kind of deal. I just want to say my piece right now for this Royal Rumble. This is one thing that really, really pissed me off. It's the same shit as last year when they had Roman zoomed in to the camera, and then of course AJ coming out, and we missed the whole thing. It was the same kind of shit. It was like, oh my god. I don't know if you noticed this. Braun came out, did whatever he did,
Oh, just
And
throwing
next
it
thing you
out
know,
there.
every time
I
a
don't
person,
know if any fans know this. Whenever a big person came out, like a guy over 300 pounds or someone who was like 7 foot tall,
yeah,
the minute you saw them enter, they cut right to the ring. They brought them
and
in on little go kart like vehicles.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was kind of it was crazy because it's like that's a long rampway. But I mean,
It was
here's
a
one thing.
fucking the ramp was a fucking mile long. It felt like
It's crazy. It's like by the time you get a ring, you're already tired. It's like what the fuck.
that's why they brought out the carts.
Yeah. But I mean, here's one thing. I think this is what I hated: the fact that every time, specifically for Braun Strowman, they did the same thing how they did to Roman, but to Braun Strowman, where someone came out, they automatically zoom straight to Braun Strowman, looking there, clueless like a dumb motherfucker, like what the fuck? And then what? Like I don't understand why they were doing that. What every
Like a
5 minutes, Kevin Dunn's
like a
gotta look in the
vegan,
monitor and see Braun Strowman.
like a vegan.
Yeah, like a vegan, exactly. Looking at their favorite vegan meal. It's like, what the fuck, man? Come on, you gotta cut to your vegan meal every 5 minutes just so you could jack off and have that fucking shot right there. Like, what the
I'm a
fuck?
I'm a vegan. I
It
don't know
pisses
if
me
you
off.
heard.
It's like,
I'm a vegan.
you're vegan now? I'm vegan too.
Guess what?
What's that?
I'm vegan.
I'm vegan too. I'm
It's
vegan.
been like 10 seconds. I haven't said it. I'm going
I
crazy.
haven't said it either. I gotta let everybody know that I'm vegan, but I also gotta let everybody know that I'm Kevin Dunn because I can't like control myself from not seeing,
Anyway,
Braun Strowman or Roman Reigns.
anyway, on a funny note,
Yep.
when Dean came out, he basically threw James Ellsworth into the ring without
That was
actually
that was
touching him. It was hilarious.
that was hilarious. Yeah, yeah.
All
I
right,
mean,
so
here's
on
one thing too.
three, we'll go. One,
hmm
2, 3, and Ellsworth is in
Oop,
the ring.
that's it. Yeah. But I mean, let's. I mean, what about for example, what'd you call it? So Baron Corbin came out. They of course had this whole sequence where I think Baron
I
Corbin
think,
hit him first.
yeah, they were going back and forth for a couple seconds.
Yeah, and then Dean Ambrose hit him, and then next thing you know, Sami Zayn hits with a haluva kick, and then who kicks him out? Baron Corbin takes out Braun Strowman.
I
I
thought
was
that was
going
good.
ape shit crazy. I was
I
so
thought that was
fucking happy. I
good.
was like, thank fucking God. Because at that point, everybody's like, okay, this guy's going to win the Rumble. He's clearly the favorite. Oh, fuck, he's going to win.
And
Next thing
even
you know, I kick him out.
everyone even knows
Everybody.
this. I wasn't high on Corbin.
Yeah.
He's growing on me. Corbin's actually growing on me. I'm starting to like him. You know, I'm actually upset who wasn't in the Rumble. American Alpha. I was very upset they weren't in the Rumble. And basically, I think Sal has technical difficulties.
No, my fault. My fault, yeah.
Oh,
But I mean,
I was saying I was upset American Alpha wasn't in the on the pay per view at all.
I was actually upset. A lot of people weren't showing up for the pay per view. I mean, it was like they had, of course, Jack Gallagher doing his whole thing. They had, they didn't have Neville, which is kind of surprising. It was like, goddamn. Um,
He was on the main card, but he wasn't in the match.
yeah, he won the title, by the way, but that was pretty interesting too. Um, but it's like, what the hell? Like, they could have
There was
had
a
a
nice
lot
little
more
list
names.
of people.
Yeah,
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, they actually could have done a 40 man.
I think they could have done a 40 man. That's I think what was the biggest disadvantage. It kind of felt like they were limited on people that they could have put in the Rumble, but they really didn't. Because of course they had like Apollo Cruz. They had what is it? Kalisto came out. They
Like
had Dolph Ziggler.
why was Enzo in it?
Well, I think this is really what pissed me off. Enzo was number 27, and they just had him as a throwaway. Brock Lesnar came out, wrecked everybody, and the next thing you know, Enzo comes out and just goes ape shit, da da da, this that, and that happens. It's like, come on, man. Like they wasted one good pick. Hell, James Ellsworth, they wasted that one good pick
They wasted
just
Ellsworth.
for.
They wasted Enzo. They wasted Roman.
It was disappointing. But then, I mean, here's one thing that I liked. Of course, they had Luke Harper came out, Bray Wyatt was in there, and then Randy Orton was there. All three members of the Wyatt family. Luke Harper comes in, he turns
Turns. He
on Bray.
turns. That was amazing.
That was crazy, and the way you saw him with having the sister Abigail on him, everybody was going ape shit. Like, holy shit, this is good.
I actually thought he was gonna hit it.
I thought he was gonna hit it too, but then of course Randy Orton came out of nowhere, RKO, that's it. And then of course as it was kind of counting down more and more, we're thinking, oh my god, Finn's gonna come out. I actually thought for a minute
Finn's
Finn was
gonna
gonna
come
come out,
out. Joe's gonna come
or AJ
out.
Styles, yeah, AJ Styles
Angle.
was gonna come out maybe, Joe. Nope, who comes out? Roman Reigns. The whole crowd was chanting bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. It was disappointing. It was frustrating. I was like, come on, man. You really could have done something better than that.
They could
Where
have
it's like,
had Angle. They could have had Joe,
they could have Triple
Finn,
H.
Seth Rollins,
Yeah, Seth Rollins, Triple H. They
Kenny
didn't do that.
Omega, even though he announced he wasn't signing.
hmm Ricochet.
There's so many people.
It's a Shinsuke Nakamura, maybe. That would have been even better, too. Imagine that Shinsuke Nakamura comes out as a surprise Royal Rumble entrant.
EY, Bobby.
hmm Yep. But it didn't happen. But then, of course, it's down to the last four. Who else? Brock Lesnar gets thrown out. The Undertaker gets thrown out by Roman. Goldberg gets taken out by Undertaker, I believe. Then
Yeah.
after that,
It was Brock
what do you?
eliminated by Goldberg.
hmm
Goldberg eliminated by Taker. Taker eliminated by piece of shit. Roman Reigns. Sorry.
Well, I think here's what's stupid too. They really buried everybody when Goldberg was there and Brock Lesnar was there. Brock Lesnar not so much. Brock Lesnar got buried, and of course Goldberg took out Sami Zayn just like that. Everybody in a flash, and just buried them. It's like, what the fuck? Sami Zayn, upcoming character. Why the fuck would you have him just be put down by Goldberg like that? It makes no sense.
I actually
It's
thought Sammy
frustrating.
was gonna. Sammy was one of the favorites to win it.
Yeah, he was. I think, yeah. But I mean, it was kind of frustrating to see that. Okay, that of course, Goldberg just goes ahead and buries these guys, throw them out. But Undertaker takes them out pretty much, and that's it. And then, of course, you had this surprising thing where Roman takes out the Undertaker. They have to stare down, and everybody's looking like, holy shit, this is gonna be a feud now. So I think from there, everybody was thinking, okay. We kept wondering who's the Undertaker gonna face at this year's WrestleMania. John Cena was thrown in the hat. He's taken out now. Now who's left? Roman. Seems like that kind of way. It kind of seems like that's where they're heading towards.
But another thing that kind of upset me, which I thought would have made him the biggest heel in wrestling. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Daniel Bryan's music hits. The Miz comes
Yeah,
out.
they didn't do that. They didn't do that at all. That was really fucked up.
Creative listened to one thing the fans wanted though. Ty
Mm-hmm.
coming at number 10.
I mean, I give him that respect. I give him a plus to that. Then, think about the last four. So it was, I think, Bray, Randy Orton, um,
Roman.
I think Dolph Ziggler, and Roman Reigns. Right?
Oh, Jericho lasted a long time too, by the
Oh,
way.
I think Jericho. Yeah, Jericho was there too, but
An hour and 1 minute.
he made a record, I think.
He is now he has the most accumulated time in Royal Rumble history.
Yeah, which is historic. That's still something there. But
4 hours, 58 minutes, and 12 seconds.
hmm And then what about the final four? Of course, they took out everybody else. Bray Wyatt got thrown over. It was down to Randy Orton and Roman Reigns. Did you actually think for a moment that they were going to give Roman the Royal Rumble win again?
If they would have had Roman win it, I was canceling my subscription.
If they had Roman win it, I think the whole crowd would have rioted right there. They would have gone ahead and thrown the chairs off the seats, thrown it into the ring,
They would
say
have ripped the
fuck you,
chairs out of the fucking.
the bleachers.
They just would have went ape shit.
It would have been apeshit. It was like, what the fuck, man? Like, it's frustrating because the whole crowd was booing him. Why have him win again? They're gonna have him win back to back or sort of back to back. The year after makes no sense.
The year we
But then,
wanted him to
of course,
win, Batista won. The year we didn't want
yep,
him to win, he won.
yep, they fucked up on that one. And then this year, the year that they didn't even want him being involved, he came in.
I was happy though that fucking Randy won.
It's good. I mean, that opens up possibilities. That can happen. But I mean, it kind of seems like this. Royal Rumble was a pretty big event this year. It seems like they're kind of doing this. Like Vince has his mentality. You get the asses into the seats. The moment they're in the seats, you got them. That's it. You can do whatever the fuck you want. They're still there. They're still paying their money. Doesn't matter what you do.
Only
And I
that
think that's the
sucks.
most stupidest thing. Yeah, that
Only that
sucks. That
sucks is
sucks
Vince
really bad.
fucking put Roman in the Rumble.
That was his decision. No, that was his decision for sure.
Do you think it was his or Kevin?
I think it was both.
They were probably sitting there jerking each other off. Like, oh, Roman's on, Roman's in, Roman's in, Roman's in.
They could have used that on Joe. I mean, for that, but it didn't happen. But I mean, let's talk about, of course, the next
I'll say
night.
let's talk
They
about the
addressed this
night
whole thing.
after.
Yeah, they addressed Triple H versus Seth, basically setting that up. And basically, what happens is Triple H comes out to address
Your
him.
opinion, would you put that at Fastlane or would you put it at Mania?
I think Mania. Take all the time to squeeze all the juice out of this and make it a big ass feud. Make the build great because it's gonna make sense. Because think about this. I mean, it actually hit me right there. Think about this. Triple H, he made this promo. He said that I'm sick and tired of retiring careers, ending dreams, and burying people. That's what he said. I think that's what he in the context. That's what he said.
He
Because if
said
you think
it.
about it,
He said burying Triple H burying people.
yeah, he did though. He did though. I mean, in a sense, he was really teasing that because for years people have been telling him that Triple H likes to
You're
bury
burying
people.
people.
He doesn't have a vision. He did though, no lie. But then, of course, you look at Seth Rollins, who doesn't he does the same thing. Like his character is this kind of guy that ends careers, doesn't put
Injures
other people
people.
over. Yeah, who injures people. It's kind of like Triple H is kind of like putting a projection of his
Clone.
character into Seth Rollins, like a clone. Yeah, and it's like if you think about it, like look at Seth Rollins. He injured, he ended Sting's career. He broke John Cena's nose, which is a big
Which
thing.
the thing is, you can't really blame Seth
Yep,
because John Cena even said, "I didn't turn my head."
yep. But I
Because
mean,
that
it's
knee
also
was
one thing
supposed to
too
go
that
to the shoulder.
yep.
I will
But I think
defend
here's one thing.
Seth
Mhm.
all the way for that one. Cena even
But
said,
here's
"You
one thing. Won't you
cannot
say this?
blame Seth. That was me."
But won't you agree with this though? He he ends careers, or he actually does. He's very stiff, or like he's very very rough in the ring.
Well, who do you blame for the Finn one?
I blame. I think it's a mixture. I think it's probably more Seth, but also Finn for not landing properly. But I mean that's another thing. That's immortalized. That Seth injured Finn. That's all it equates to pretty much. You could put it whichever way you want. Oh, Finn
According
didn't
to
land
Brett,
properly.
blame Finn, blame Seth for everything.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I think it's good if they do because think about this: Triple H was known as that guy too, who ended careers, who didn't put people over, who was selfish in a way. It kind of feels like okay, they're kind of seeming like they're kind of drawing this kind of parallel, but they're actually the same in one. Don't you think?
In a way, yes.
Because it kind of makes sense. Because think about this now. So of course they had this whole thing. If it felt like okay, they were gonna have them both fight in the ring for the first
Oh,
time in a
I
while.
thought they were gonna have a fucking brawl.
I thought that's it. They were just gonna end it there and that's it. But then he comes along the rampway. Someone clocks him right in the head. Boom! Who was that? Who the fuck is this in a tap out shirt? Fat
Who?
motherfucker.
Who?
Cybers.
Who?
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 Who? Former
Samoa
two-time NXT
fucking
champ.
Joe.
Samoa fucking Joe comes out. And he clocks Seth right in the fucking head.
Right when
Triple
it
H right there
happened.
standing looking at him.
Right when it happened, what was the first thing I inboxed you on Facebook?
You said Joe is here. Joe is on Raw.
Samoa fucking Joe. He's a Triple H guy.
He's a Triple H guy. That's right. I mean, here's one thing too. He's on the same roster with the likes of Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Seth fucking Rollins. So think
You know
about
who
this.
hasn't been on TV yet?
Who's that?
Ty.
Ty, exactly right. So
He hasn't. He's not on Raw, and he hasn't appeared on SmackDown yet.
he hasn't appeared on SmackDown. He hasn't appeared on Raw. But I mean, that's one thing. Think about this. So the whole month we kept speculating what's gonna happen with Joe, and then what ends up happening? Joe comes out and on Raw. That's basically his. Once you say that's his debut,
Yeah. I think it's gonna be Fastlane. I think it's gonna be Joe versus Seth. If Seth wins, he gets Triple H at WrestleMania. Mark my words. Quote me on that.
I agree. I think it's a good way of doing that. I mean, here's one thing that I like about Triple H now.
If I'm wrong, I will post. Sal, mark my words on this too.
Right.
If I'm wrong, I will post an Eva Marie, my favorite Eva Marie moment every day up until WrestleMania.
We'll hold you on that. We'll hold you on that right now. But I mean, it kind of seems like the logical way to have him face, have him face him at, what do you call it, Fastlane,
Fastlane.
because it's a good way of bringing in Joe. And I think what will really work is this: don't have Joe show up and make any appearances on Raw. Have him build up there, make some promos,
No,
but don't
no.
actually have
Have
him wrestle.
him. I would say yeah. Have him come in with Triple H every week like that,
Yeah,
but don't really talk.
yeah. Don't have him talk. Just have him
Because
put him
don't
in
get me wrong,
Fastlane.
Joe could cut a promo. We've seen that in
Yeah, he can.
TNA. We've seen it in Ring of Honor.
Right.
Just have him come in as like a physical force, but just standing
Like
there.
an enforcer. Like
Yeah,
an
just have him
enforcer.
stand there. Like,
Yeah.
do something. Like, try and hit
What
me.
about this?
Watch what
Yeah.
happens.
What about this? Triple H doesn't compete at Mania. Instead, they just go for having him be like a manager role for Joe. What do you think about that?
Basically, how he did with Kevin Owens, kind of, but
Or
not
it's kind of like how,
as
yeah,
a
it's kind of like
manager.
how, or how about kind of like how, like Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, kind of like that kind of thing, where Triple H does all the talking, Joe just stands there, looks
And
bad
fuck
as a
shit up.
motherfucker,
And fuck shit up.
and fuck shit up. Exactly, it makes sense. I mean, it's kind of like, well, here's one thing, Triple H, he does come up on WrestleMania. Okay, we'll accept that. Joe comes on, fights him, we'll accept that either way. I think everybody is dying to see at this point to see Joe in the ring in the main roster doing something.
Because if you're a real wrestling fan, you've seen what he could do in Ring of Honor. You've seen what he could do in TNA. You've seen what he could do in NXT.
Right?
The dude
And it
could
makes
fucking
sense.
fight.
Yeah. I mean, here's one thing too. Tyler Black and Joe probably have never met in a long time. Because of
Best time they
course,
did was the Ring of Honor.
yeah, Ring of Honor. They have of course Ring of Honor ties and everything like that. Where Tyler Black was the big guy for Ring of Honor. What you call it? Joe was a big guy in Ring of Honor, but mainly TNA. So it's kind of like this is the first time you're ever seeing Joe and Rollins on the same kind of plane, but in a big stage. So that's perfect. Because we all haven't seen Nakamura and Rude on a big stage like that ever. We've
This
never
is the
seen that.
first time they actually ever fought.
Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, that's one thing. There's so many different possibilities. That's a good way of making.
'Cause even when TNA did their New Japan invasion thing, they
Yeah,
never fought.
it's kind of like how there's so many stars, so many possibilities, so many different names, but they never had them clash. But WWE is kind of doing that. They see that and they're like, okay, let's make that happen, and it makes sense. So that's what's gonna bring them up, I think, for Mania season to see more of these kind of matchups and everything. Because here's one question too: Braun Strowman, he's obviously they're trying to have him do this kind of big thing where he's like a big heel and make him a big star. Who is he gonna face at Mania? If not Roman, because Roman probably is gonna be with the Undertaker. Who else is it gonna be?
Jericho? Jericho?
I don't think what Jericho said. I think Jericho said he's done after this. He's taking another hiatus. I think.
Because he was supposed to. I think his last match was supposed to be before Survivor Series
Yeah.
or after.
Then,
I think Survivor
yeah,
Series
but
might
then
have
he
been
kept
his last
extending it.
one.
Yeah,
But
but
then
then he kept
he,
extending it.
yeah,
He wants. I guess now he just wants to do more of a manager role and more of a talking role, not like a full-on wrestling role like he did before. But it opens a possibility because I think here's something that can happen. Maybe Shinsuke Nakamura gets thrown into the mix. What do you think about that?
I think so.
Because here's one thing. Like think about this. So I mean, if you break down the card right now, they have, of course, John Cena winning the title, who of course is probably gonna lose it to Bray at Elimination Chamber, setting up Randy versus Bray for the title. They're gonna have probably Universal title, of course, like you said,
In
Goldberg
a
versus
chamber
Brock
match.
in a chamber match. Yeah, of course, Goldberg versus Brock for the title at Mania.
Well,
Then
do you
of
think there's
course,
gonna be 2 chamber matches?
well, I heard only SmackDown's getting it, right. SmackDown's the only one getting the Elimination Chamber match.
I think it should be both.
Or I think here's something they can do at Elimination Chamber. Not just make it one singles, what you call Elimination Chamber match. Make it a tag team Elimination Chamber match. Because we haven't seen that in a while, I think, right?
How can you do that though? I forgot.
Think about it. I think the last time did it, they had two people in each pod, two tag teams in the ring, same time, fighting it out. It would be a pretty good, interesting match, though, because you see all kinds of spots, you know?
Well, all I know is the cruiserweights deserve a ladder match at Mania.
Well, here's one thing they're saying. They're saying that I think 205 205 Live isn't doing so well, and I think the cruiserweights on Raw aren't doing so well either. You think they're gonna close the cruiserweights?
They can't.
But then what about the UK division? The UK, whole thing right there. Because Tyler Bates, of course, showed up at Royal Rumble. They didn't do jack shit. It was like, wow, what the fuck, you guys could have made him a surprise entry, but they didn't. What do you think the plans are on that?
I was happy when I heard about the UK thing, but then it didn't do anything after.
Yeah,
Tyler
I mean,
Bates
we'll
is
have to
holding
see.
the title for no reason. At
We'll
least
have to
with
see. I
the
mean, of course,
cruiserweights, they at least started the week after.
yeah. I mean, they're trying to make their own show, so that might take some time. You never know.
205 Live started not that long after the Cruiserweight Classic.
But I think one of the major downfalls of the UK tournament. I think why people didn't like. They didn't
There
give that
wasn't that
much
many
time for it to build.
that, and there wasn't that many big names.
Well, I mean, I think they were big names. It's just that they didn't give them time to build and develop because it was like if you see the Cruiserweight Classic, that took what almost 6 weeks to develop. 6 weeks they kept taping matches and everything, right?
But everyone knew practically everyone in that tournament, though.
Yeah, in a way, but still, I mean, that's what I think. The reason why, I mean, for example, like Jack Gallagher, we didn't know, we didn't know him, but after a while, once you kept seeing him, you got to know him who he was. But it's kind of
And
like with
he
the
was a
UK
fan
tournament.
favorite.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's one thing. Also, I think it was also they didn't have enough exposure because it was like with the UK tournament, it was rushed. It was kind of rushed in a sense because it was like,
To be honest,
okay, we have all these people.
I'm actually looking forward to this woman tournament they got.
They gotta do something with this. I think more names are gonna come in, but we're gonna see for that.
It's
But what
supposed to be
about
this
this?
summer, they said.
Yeah. What about a woman's Money in the Bank match?
Charlotte's trying to push for it. Sasha's trying to push for it.
Hmm.
Bailey wants it.
They got enough people though to do that. I think, right?
You only need like 5 or
Hell, they
6.
can make. Yeah, they can make it an interbrand match if they want to too.
That actually would be
Because think
good.
about this, like, yeah, because
One
they can
woman
have
wins
both.
it, and she gets to
Yeah.
pick what title she wants to go for.
For either brand, yeah, just like that. Because of course, I mean, they kept making speculation that the draft was going to come up soon, earlier than it was last year. So it can happen earlier this year. So instead of doing that, they can extend. They can make it the same time where the draft comes in June, and do the same exact thing. But I think what they're doing now until Mania and then after Mania is all based on what they're going to do for the draft. They're setting up for the new draft and everything. Again, I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen, a lot of things that can change. We just have to see from there.
I'm looking
But I
forward
mean,
to seeing 2 names in this tournament, though.
which two names?
Velvet Sky
Mm-hmm.
And from what I'm hearing, Taryn Terrell.
That makes sense. That would definitely be good though.
My sources are telling me Taryn Terrell might be in the tournament
We haven't seen her for a while.
after she gave birth.
Yeah. I know. What about Karma or Awesome Kong?
I think she's done.
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, they're of course gonna probably announce more names, maybe new people from Shine and everything like that. So we'll have to see exactly who they're
From
gonna bring in.
Shine, from Glow, from New Japan.
Yep. We'll have to see. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
They could probably throw,
a lot. It's a very
and if they want to get an
that was a great
announcer, like a female announcer, get SoCal Val.
SoCal Val, probably Lita, back in the fray.
No, Lita's done with the company. They fired her.
Well, Jerry Lawler too, right?
No, they just demoted him.
That's crazy. I mean, we'll have to see from there, but of course, it's an interesting time. This is, of course, WrestleMania season. As we get closer and closer, and things are gonna get more and more
But
interesting.
if you're a real wrestling fan like we are here at the
Yep.
RSN podcast and at ProWrestlingOpinion.com, your go-to site for segment by segment coverage of all
Right.
mainstream wrestling and even the little independent companies run by the Nick Lopez.
Mm-hmm.
Every real wrestling fan like us knows WrestleMania season starts after Survivor Series.
That's true. That's right.
You're
But
welcome,
I
Nick,
mean,
for
it's
that nice little plug.
yeah. Well, I mean, here's that's right. I mean, well, here's one thing too. I heard that this Royal Rumble, like this, I think had the most viewership because I heard the network shut down because too many people were signing on and they actually crashed their servers.
And there
So
were too many people
wrestling
trying
fan,
to sign up for their free month.
yeah, for their free month, but also getting and taking advantage of watching the Rumble and watching out Royal Rumbles, basically the whole WrestleMania season. So, like we said, this is a very interesting time. You're always going to be able to follow up with us. Every 2 weeks, we're going to have this bi-weekly podcast, pretty much a shoot, everything like that. We're bringing in more and more new content. Of course, you stay tuned with us. You're going to find out. Follow us on Facebook. Check us on YouTube. Check out our old podcast and everything like that on our
Why don't you
YouTube
tell them
page.
about the idea that we're actually throwing around, me, you, and Nick?
Well, this is kind of in the works. It's still in the primitive infancy stages of what's going on. We're thinking about making a new show called The Flashback, or right? Flashback, yeah.
Something
Flashback.
like that.
So pretty
It's still
much
in the
all
works.
this
We
is
just don't
just
have an actual name for it yet.
yeah. All we know right now is pretty much we're gonna be talking about previous pay-per-views, talking about what's going on, and then reviewing them as pretty much watching in real time or kind of like that, whatever it is. Something
It's
that's
basically what
again.
Nick does at Pro Wrestling Opinion.
Hmm.
He basically covers all old pay-per-views,
Hmm.
but
Well,
we're
only the
going to
ones
give
that are
you like
most.
a verbal one. We're going to give you
Yep.
a verbal, not really segment by segment, but
Hmm.
a verbal review basically of the show. Like the
Right.
high
Right. That's true.
points, the low points, what could have been better, what they actually did
Mhm.
phenomenal, like that.
Right. I mean, well, here's one thing. Like, if you see many different pay-per-views in the past that have been memorable, you kind of look at them and say, "Wow," And there's a lot of stuff. If you have a network membership, of course, you really don't get a chance to watch them because they're like, you know what? I want to watch the latest shit. Because there's times where you watch like an old pay-per-view, and it's like, okay, I know what's gonna happen. This is slow pace. This is boring. Let me just switch over or something. But actually watching it in full time and exactly seeing what's going on, that's kind of interesting. So I mean, personally, I can say, I mean, as a fan, I mean, I started watching WWE after around, I say, 2004. So, like certain papers that I want to watch, pretty much some things that I'm, pretty interested in watching. Of course, is like Judgment Day 2004.
And
Things
I've been
like
a wrestling fan my whole life, so
mhm,
I've watched the bad times in the early 90s, the good
yep,
times, the mid 90s with the Outsiders jumping
yep.
ship, Hogan jumping ship, the
So of
whole
course, it's
Attitude
something that's
Era.
it's something that's gonna unite all wrestling fans right here, old, new, whatever it is. Basically, see what's going on, and then from
Future
there,
members of our show who might actually find out about us from other people who are subscribed to our show.
right? That's right. But also, like we said, we're gonna keep on bringing more and more talent. Of course, we got the Year in Review podcast. But again, we'll see you guys out.
See you guys.